C-tax, consolidated tax. It's probably going to be one of the most contested, congested issues coming up in the next legislature. They're talking about redoing the formula for distribution of the C-tax from the state. What are your thoughts about that issue?
I think the C-tax definitely needs to be revisited.
Okay.
It was unfair for years going that direction. This year, when this last session, when everything kind of changed down there, all of a sudden Mesquite got a windfall, and so it really disrupted the whole people, and people could see what's going on with it. It needs to be revisited. I don't think it's going to be quite as hostile as you say it is.
Okay.
I think if people all are on board, it sounds like. I haven't been in those meetings on the C-tax, but they sound like the communities are on board. North Las Vegas is the one that's kind of calling foul, but they're in a situation where they need more money. I don't know. They've talked about maybe the other communities working with them until they get out of the situation, so the state doesn't have to take it over. But we'll see what happens there. That might be a contested issue. I think that much like my situation, you get yourself into the situation, you got to get yourself out, and it's you work with the people that you owe, not the people shouldn't have to come in and take care of you. So
yeah. So what other issues do you see that are going to be on the docket for the next legislative session? What issues do you think are going to be there? What issues do you want to be there?
Issues I want to be there is to continue to work with the governor on some of these regulations, which are amazingly, there's some situations out that are happening within the state where employees, I think ex-employees, have too much power to continue to confound and cause problems for entities, for businesses.
Give us an example.
Okay, I'll give you an example. People may get laid off because they're disgruntled, so they go to OSHA, they go to the city fire department, what do you call it, all these things. They come, there's no justification, nothing's found, nothing's done wrong, and they continue, but it costs that business to respond to any of those public entities. It costs them money. Mm-hmm. Now, should that person be fined or even jailed for it? I think so. I think there needs to be some things changed on that. That we're killing business by giving sometimes people too much power and to use the system against itself. Now, when something's wrong, it's easy enough to locate. Mm-hmm. But also what's happened with it is entities like OSHA and that continue to try, oh, well, I got this thing here. And they justify their position. It's like in some of our situation. We haven't run our crusher for a long time out there. But MSHA still shows up. MSHA still inspects. Haven't touched it since the last time, but we get a fine because they find something new every time. You know, it's happened. Not just us. I'm just using us as an example, right. But yeah. It's happening all over the Las Vegas Valley. Air quality, those kind of things. If there's an issue there, deal with it. But let's don't make up things to justify our existence. And I think a lot of those type of regulations put us in a situation where people are just hanging on by a thread, and government still continues to get bigger, and it hasn't reduced its size in any. So.
Okay. So that's the issues you want to work on. What do you think is going to be some of the big issues coming up in the next legislative session? Of course, it depends on which party wins. But
I think we're going to find out that we have a real financial challenge ahead of us.
In what way?
In the money that's continuing to come in the state. There may be more cuts. There may be issues over raising more taxes, which we all know that's going to happen, but and people want it to happen. It's a constant battle anyway. But there might be entitlement things that have to be reduced to save the budget. Who knows what the federal government's going to trickle down to us, and with this Medicaid and Medicare situation, or Obamacare, however you want to call it. Mm-hmm. It's a huge issue right now. So that's going to be one of those contested issues. It's a partisan ideals on that one. Okay. I haven't found any middle ground on it.
Yeah.
For as transportation and those kind of deals, we have a failing infrastructure in all over the country, not just in Nevada. But yes, stimulus monies came here, but most of it's patchwork. It's not, we haven't done a lot to really fix up and improve our bridges and highways. Las Vegas Valley is in pretty good shape because of Clark County and the sales tax on it. One of the big issues that's going to come out is going to be the More Cops program.
Yes.
And it's it's one of those. It was already passed back in 2005 or 3 or 5, something like that, to be able to have that
5.
quarter cent sales
Right.
tax. Everybody's kind of diverted it until now. They've got the first quarter cents. Now they're wanting the next quarter cent. Our own area can use more cops.
Well, we benefit greatly from that More Cops program.
And we utilize it.
We do.
The question is are the other entities utilizing it? And I think I've met with Sheriff Gillespie and some of his staff. They've done their pitch. They've given me budget numbers, and I think they're struggling. They haven't hired the amount of cops that they were required to with the first amount, but they haven't been able to because it's just been a budget. Every time they get money for one thing, it gets taken away somewhere else. So they've had to use that just to sustain the cops that they had. So.
Because I think we employ 8 or 9 police officers just in Mesquite through the More Cops program. So it's been a great benefit to us. So, and the taxpayers have passed the full half cent and only incorporated a quarter cent.
Well, the legislation passed it. The taxpayers didn't necessarily. But the legislation.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations. Can we afford that extra quarter cent right now? And I think that's a decision that we'll have to make for the people. So.
Okay. All right. Anything to wrap it up?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and good luck in the election.
Thank you.
Okay.